This is Let's Talk Football on the sportshacks.com, and this is Let's Talk Football on a Friday. Friday means one thing and one thing only. It means the League of Ireland, and I'm joined as always by the very intuitive and the very educated and the very well spoken Daryl Geraghty, because Daryl is a man who spends his time in the press boxes across the League of Ireland men's and women's game, and a man who listens to what's being said by the fans and observes what's going on the pitch in front of him. So, Daryl, as always, you're very welcome to Let's Talk Football.
And as always, thanks very much for the kind words.
Oh,
Favorite time of the
let's start this week, Daryl, with Bohemians, because it was an odd weekend in that we had games on Friday involving all the teams, and then we had games on Monday night involving the teams that are about to go into European action in July. So Alan Reynolds' home defeat to Dundalk, wonder goal, I have to say. Actually, let's talk about that. Owen Kenny's strike was quite brilliant.
It was a piece of magic, and he really showed his quality that night. And Kieran Conduff after was saying just how he wants to try to get that consistency out of him because he sees it every day in training that he can. There's other levels to him. And we already put it to him that surely he's going to be a full international. He said, "Oh, without a doubt, it's going to happen." And then it was obviously the inevitable question of interest from across the water, but he was sensational. That the turn, the pirouette, and then the finish was unstoppable, top class. Yeah.
I watched the game on television on my TV screen, and what impresses me with him this season in particular is that he's added so much. I mean, he's still a very young man. He's got, was it 821 cap now for Northern Ireland, and when you talk about him being a senior international, I think it'd be very difficult to prize him away from the North now. Of course, he was born in Derry when his dad was up there. But what impressed me with him was the maturity that he's brought to his game, and that he's not afraid to lead that line now, is he?
No, there's no fear at all in his game, and there shouldn't be when you have that ability. But it's hard to translate that from the training pitch onto the Friday night, as we've seen with our players who are brilliant at training, but struggle on the Friday under the lights. But he has no problem with it, and seems to have, maybe he's on a good weight program. I don't know, but that strength is there, like that inner strength to push off defenders, and he still obviously has the burst of speed to get away. So, like, you're just ticking off all the boxes on what a modern striker is, and he's definitely one of them.
And I get the impression, and his dad may have played a part in this even, but there's very much a mental toughness to him as well, isn't there?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's haven't seen his dad go through what he has, even when the international manager. I mean, it builds up a certain resilience and toughness upstairs. So yeah, he does seem to be not licking off a stone, as they say. But yeah, look, I'm really excited to see where his career can
Well,
go.
fair play to him, and you know, as you say, it is going to be exciting to see what happens next for Owen Kenny and for Dundalk. We'll come back to them in a second. But for Bohemians, that was quite the defeat, and as always, the crowd. By the way, Scotland singing Leicester, "Yes Sir, I Can Boogie." I remember being pitchside with Georgie Kelly trying to do a TV interview at the end of a cup semi-final, and the stand was roaring, "Yes Sir, I Can Boogie" at the TV camera. So not just a Scottish thing, by the way. So I'm sure Bows fans will remember that. But Bows fans had plenty to say on Friday night, and they will have had plenty to say on Monday night, because Bows go from losing at home to Dundalk to, I think it's fair to say, pumping Shelbourne in Talcott Park.
Yeah, like Paul O'Hare was sitting beside me on Friday and described them as a Jekyll and Hyde team from game to game, and I said like you can even extrapolate that into the Jekyll and Hyde team within halves of games, because they started on Friday against Dundalk like 100 miles an hour, got the goal, and it looked like it was only going to be one result. They played like they had a week of Rennie really giving them stock on the training pitch, but then 15 minutes, 20 minutes, to just the flatness or something just dropped. I can't remember seeing a drop off like it. Um, and that's not credit. That's credit to Dundalk. Obviously, they switched a few things around and stopped them, but it just died off. And then you could see the tension, the frustration building between the fans. And then at the end, it was like even there was no real build up of head of steam to really look for the equaliser, and fans were getting that impression as well. And then the chance of we want Rennie out, etc., started well before the final whistle. So it looked like there was no way back there, and Rennie was in spiky form with us after the game as well. So,
But
but
then,
then
but then they go down the road to Talcott Park, and they literally turn Shelbourne over.
baffling balls is what I keep referring to them as. No one can put their finger on them. They And I was asking people at the game because I was out in Tallaght that night and I was watching it on the laptop as well. And yeah, it was like, were Bows that good or were Shells that poor or was it a mix of both? And it's just Bows had played with no fear again, and they just seem to need to get the second goal in games to settle them, or maybe I don't know, have that belief that they can see out a half, or then sitting deep and try hit on the counter like they did on the third. So again, just baffling balls every week.
It's 1 point from the two games over the weekend for Shelburne.
They got good results recently, and then that on Monday was just crazy. Never saw that coming in a million years.
And Dundalk, no European football for them this season, but the way they're going, and you've been saying this for a couple of weeks, we can now officially classify them as European chasing Dundalk.
Yep, 100%. And I was looking at the table just there, and I even joked on Friday, it's like, this is a good result, and then if things go well, you win your two games in hand, you won't be that far off Shamrock Rovers, so will we extrapolate it into title chasing, or will we just wait a couple of months? And they took it in good humour, but I mean, Pats are 6 points behind, Dundalk are 9 points behind with two games in hand, and the way the league is going, people are beating everyone, so we can we'll look at that headline soon, I guess.
It is,
Keep in the back
it is, it
pocket.
is interesting because Waterford had something of a resurgence themselves. They get beaten at home by Rovers. Pats now have those two games in hand. This is maybe not as over as we thought it was.
No, definitely not. And speaking to Stephen Bradley over the weekend, he was the same. He really keen to reiterate that to the press and whoever was there that, the 2-0 against Waterford, you're looking top and bottom. They were 1-0 up and Waterford had enough chances, set pieces that they could have scored, and it was only a late goal. So he was really, really keen to say that, look, the standard has gone up across the board. So there's not, the cliche is there's no easy games, but that proved that I think on Friday that they just got over the line, just did enough. And Waterford had again, like the threat we said, with their front two. So, yeah, I feel this is definitely not as over as we thought. It's a long way to go.
Should James McLean have been sent off?
Oh, 100%. He was, he was furious with that now, Stephen. Haven't seen him that worked up and animated in a long time. But then we put it to him because it was the second yellow. Do you think the ref might have took that into account? But you can't. It's just stonewall penalty. Like Dylan Watts is about to shoot and he clears him out. So, and yeah, he's lucky he got the ball in the first challenge because that could have been a red as well
It
on
it could
Borky.
be it could be interesting if the two of them, James McLean and Stephen Bradley, end up on the couch together in RTE at this World Cup because they've both been in the studio today. You and I were joking.
And yeah, sorry, just on that, you saw James McLean's comments after the England game about the penalty. Like a penalty is a penalty, and
You were
I
laughing.
couldn't stop laughing to
Yeah.
myself. Going, not even 24 hours ago,
Sometimes,
you were in the middle of the exact same thing. So yeah,
sometimes,
hopefully to get them in the studio quick.
sometimes James knows exactly what James is saying, as we've seen so many times in the past. We were laughing last week about the Sunday game at Pearse Stadium and Marty Morrissey doing the commentary and the GA derby and Galway wonders. That was a big result for them against Derry, and I know Derry came back with a point at Rovers on Monday, and by all accounts they deserve that point, if not more. But Galway will be difficult for Rovers this weekend, won't they?
Yeah, they'll be full of confidence again and have no fear. Saw John Caulfield in Tallaght on Monday. He left a few minutes before the end. I think he's seen enough. He knows that the Rovers bench is ridiculous compared to any other bench, but absolutely no fear. And John Caulfield side won't definitely have any fear, especially on their own patch. So Stephen alluded to it as well. He said they're always close games with Galway, so he's definitely not taking his eye off it.
What about the game of the weekend? Because I think that has to be St. Patrick's Athletic, as you said, second in the table. Bohemians just behind them, Pats going to Dalymount. That should be a cracker.
Oh yeah, this has the makings of the game of the season for me. The games have been close enough with them. I think was it 3 draws in the last four, but then one win and 9 for Bowes. So it's not the greatest record if you want to look over the longer period. But it's going to be tight. It's going to be tense. Both sides know there's a lot on the line because Bowes don't want to be looking over the shoulder like we said last week about cementing European football, and Pats can't afford to again, like we said, every can't afford to slip up. So it's the inconsistency. Derby, it's definitely the game of the week, and lucky enough to be going along to that. So yeah, can't wait to Mountwater and clash.
And for Pats particularly, I mean, they have to take advantage now of the fact that clubs are going into Europe, don't they? They don't have European football this season, but they have to take advantage of these teams going away for what.
Yeah, definitely. It's that old cliche about having points on the board, but this is their chance to now ram it back down their throats that they can, before they even go home, they can be even under even more pressure. So I'm expecting them to really kick on now. Um, Starting with Friday, again, I don't know really what anything could happen again, like you've seen, but this is the time of the year where Pats now really need to get that confidence and reassure the fans that yeah, they're in it for the long run now and they really are in the title race, and try to cut out that sloppy inconsistency that we've seen already.
For two teams, something is needed this weekend. I'm looking at Drogheda and Waterford, but it's not going to be easy for either of them. Drogheda going up to Derry and Waterford at Dundalk. A draw would be a good result for either of them there, you would have to think.
Yeah, I think so. I was really impressed with Derry on Monday. I know they finished the game with the 15-year-old Liam Kelly and 16-year-old might just turned 17 Terence Doherty. So their squad was the topic of concern that teams can really get at them in the latter stages of games because it's a number of them are carrying injuries for Derry. So that could be an area to target as well. Kevin Doherty was there on Monday as again doing his homework. And that will be something we'll be looking at is this strength and depth that Derry have, and can they keep it up for 90 minutes? They do have quality with like James McLean. Like we saw his delivery for the goal. But again, this is a good chance now for Kevin to really like he can sneak something from this game. He'll get something, I think.
Neil O'Riordan had a story in the Sun this week that they're going to make a bid for Sean Boyd when the window opens next week. You would see Drogheda strengthening, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kevin has told me on a couple of occasions now that they've no choice but to strengthen, which was his words, which I guess you can see. And Boydie he's the most Kevin Doherty striker I think in the league. The way they work so hard in set pieces and really batter teams, so that's a natural move I think, and I'd really love to see that go through because Boydie needs more game time and Trotter really need to put some goals on the board.
He hasn't kicked on this season, has he? He hasn't had the chance. He's been unlucky with injuries.
Nah, that's it. It's kind of followed him through, hasn't it? Through his career, that the injury question mark, but he's shown the last couple of years that he can score when he gets a run. I'm not sure what Joey was plan with him was this season. Even when Meepo was out for such a long period, he expected Boydie to be the regular, but he even went again, but no striker. I've seen on a couple of occasions this season, so I think the time is right maybe to get a change of scenery and kick on for the end of the season.
That's a Pep thing, isn't it? No striker,
Yeah,
or or,
or the
or the
false
false the
nine, or
false nine. Yeah,
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 or,
yeah. They love
don't have our coaching badges to say
they
that.
love all those things. Sligo against Shelbourne then on Saturday night down in the showgrounds. Shelbourne, what do you say?
Yeah, I don't know. The crowd didn't look great on Monday. I don't know if their fans are becoming a bit disillusioned with the whole thing. But again, I think with such a busy period now over the next month, we just have to settle everyone down and get a result Saturday and look forward to Europe then and try build some sort of momentum because that's key in this league, as we've seen with teams go on runs for 8, 9 matches. So yeah, I think that'll save Joey for the moment. But yeah, they really need to turn this around because the fans are not happy with team selection, tactics, for even from being in the ground. The bit of bewilderment at times. So big one Saturday for them. A lot of pressure on Joey.
And a big game for Sligo because they need to win their home matches. Two quick stories to finish with, and then we're going to look at a World Cup story. But it looks like, and this was a Chris McNulty exclusive up in Donegal, but it looks like there's an Asian investor going to come into Finn Harps, which is a move away from the fan-owned club. Finn Harps, I mean, they're a big football club. They have a big football history, but they need that new stadium. They need somebody to come in and fund it, don't they?
They do. It's like we mentioned over the weeks. Is any money coming into the league is almost seen as good money or needed money just because of the facilities are so stone age. Um, the prospect of having more money or an investor is great, but always comes with that question mark. What's the long term plan? What's the idea behind it? What are they trying to gain from it? So I'd be very cautious of it. But again, the league needs money. We welcome the investment, and hopefully it brings more interest into the league. Again, with that caveat of if they're doing it for the right reasons.
And the project, that stadium project is there. It's ready to go. It just needs money, and I think Pinhar, they don't deserve to be a first division club. The fan base doesn't deserve to have a first division club. It is a hotbed of football, so we wish them well with that. You were in Athlone, were you, Darrell, last weekend, and Liliag made an impact.
Yeah, she did. It was a really interesting game. It was just fascinating to see what tweaks she could make to this side, because it's been a pretty settled side over the last couple of years. Obviously, the double winners, and when things weren't going their way on Saturday, she was very brave with her attacking substitutions, and that's what eventually got them over the line. Um, Again, there was a lot of interest in that game. I know she couldn't sit down for too long. It wasn't comfortable for her. I think she tried to go the Marco Bielsa route, sitting on a bucket. But again, the fourth official wasn't too comfortable with that. So, yeah, she wasn't sitting down, and she was vocal. She was very vocal and really gave the side a kick in the second half, because they Shamrock Rovers, like we said last week, do have players to hurt them. But that was Saturday was a crazy day in the league. There was just stories everywhere. So it's great to see her there. Great to see her finally in the dugout. It felt like it was never going to happen, but again, please God, bring some more eyes on the league.
Any chance of her playing this season, do you think?
I don't think so. No, she seems in pretty bad nick. But you never say never. You know, with footballers playing yourself, you want to have a goal, something to look forward to, get you over the line, get you recovered. So I'll never say never on that one, but we'll keep digging to see if that's
It's unlikely.
something that can happen this season.
It's unlikely. Just
Yeah.
looking ahead then to Friday night into early Saturday morning, because anybody who's coming home from a League of Ireland match, or anybody who's stopped off for a hydration break on the way home for a League of Ireland match on Friday night, at 1 o'clock on Friday morning, Pico Lopez and Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia. Essentially, they are playing for a place in the second phase of the World Cup. They have 2 points on the board again. I mean, the performance against Uruguay, such a different game to the Spanish game, such a different challenge was presented to them. But Pico, again, a contender for player of the match. And I don't think there's a League of Ireland fan who won't fight against sleep to stay up and watch this on Friday night, Saturday morning.
No, definitely not. It's like almost the ideal time, isn't it, for fans coming home from the boozer? Right time just to sit up and watch one of our own, basically on the biggest stage, and have a chance to go one further, which at the start of the competition we would have never guessed. Let's be honest. But it's there, and it's there on merit. I think I've heard a lot of commentary around Cape Verde. Oh, they're benefiting from the expanded tournament of the 64. It almost feels like 64 teams, not 48 at times, with all the games going on. But they qualified on merit. Even if it was 32 teams, they still would have been in there. So maybe fans, pundits, other countries are starting to recognise that this is actually a proper team, and that they're there on merit. So maybe we need to look at them differently, maybe even talk about them differently. And we've shown against Uruguay that they've no fear and they can hit teams. So it's almost the perfect time, and you kind of hope that they get a sense of watching a bit of Ireland play in the World Cup almost.
Well, the coverage the League of Ireland has gained across the world has been phenomenal, and such a great marketing tool for them. And just a little story to finish with, Darrell. When Pico was 10, back in 2002, he was in school, and they wheeled television into the classroom for the World Cup from Japan and Korea. And one of his abiding memories, he couldn't remember which game it was, so we did remind him. He did some media last week. Was Ireland against Saudi Arabia. Damien Duff doing the little bow after he scored the third goal. And that was the game that put Ireland through to the second phase. And here we are with Pico Lopez all those years later. As I did point out to them, there won't be any televisions being wheeled into schoolrooms at 1 o'clock in the morning if there is to be a caretaker wondering what's going on. But it is an incredible story, and what a nice little link between a World Cup in 2002 and a World Cup in 2020.
Oh, absolutely, and hopefully the ball falls to Pico on his left foot and he can smash home just like Duffer did.
And he can give us a little bow.
Exactly. Hope he was practicing and training.
Well, listen, Darrell Garrity, as always, thank you for your very thoughtful and incisive even thoughts on the League of Ireland. We thank you for that. We look forward to chatting to you next week.
Look forward to it. Can't wait. Thanks very much.